Hello, everyone. Welcome back to In the Yard podcast with your host, Collin Savala and Braeden Cox. And the NFL divisional round has just wrapped up as we record here on Monday after the weekend. So Braeden and I are going to give you our reactions to that and also preview the AFC and NFC championship game. So I think we wanted to start with Braden's Packers and 49ers. Packers kind of seemed like they dominated all game. They were established to run. Jordan Love was throwing dots everywhere. They controlled the time of possession, but unfortunately, last drive, Purdy was able to overcome it, and then Jordan Love threw that big interception to kind of seal it. But feel like overall, Braden's got to be pretty happy with the season. Like no one really expected him to be there. Um, and you also have your answer on Jordan Love now with the future's bright for Green Bay. Rodgers leaves and Jordan Love comes right in and gets the job done, gets him a playoff win. So yeah, Braden, give me your reaction as a Packers fan to the game and outcome from Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks because you lose, and if it felt like for a large majority of the game you were the better team. Like I was sitting right in this chair and I was like holding my breath because I was like, there's no way. I was like, there's no way that this is gonna happen again. Um, I felt much more confident, obviously, going into the Dallas game versus San Francisco. But we held our own, for sure. I mean, and as far as like where I am with the team as a whole, like I literally couldn't be better. I couldn't feel better about it. And I think that they're like set up really well for like the next 5 years because they got a lot of young dudes. Like everyone on the team was like in college like 3 years ago. You know what I mean? They're not
Mm-hmm.
paying any of these guys, and they're all good. Like they got weapons. They got Wicks. They got Reed. They got Watson. They got Dobbs. They got dudes like all over the place that are like rookies. It's kind of crazy. And like like we talked about, this is the youngest team in like 50 years to even make the playoffs, and they went they beat Dallas pretty good, and they went toe to toe with the 49ers, who were largely considered like the favorite to win the Super Bowl. You know, 6 weeks ago, I would say probably. You know what I mean? So it's, there's a lot to build off of. Yeah, there was obviously a few mistakes there, like the Carlson missed field goal. I saw him trot out there and I didn't have much confidence for him. There was a reason why in the first quarter, Matt Fleur decided to go for it on 4th and 1. I get it because you want to take a 2 possession lead early in the game and maybe get that touchdown, go up 10 nothing. I totally get it. But I think a lot of that had to do with just confidence overall, because they even said on the broadcast that Matt LaFleur basically said, like, I pray every time that this guy walks it on the field. He's a rookie. I said after the game, I was like, in that moment, you wish you had Mason Crosby still on your team. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's like, you know what I mean? Just a
Just
guy,
like the
just a
veteran
veteran
experience
presence.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly. The guy who's been there, done that kind of deal.
Yeah.
Uh, and then as far as Jordan Love, he threw 2 picks. He played very well. I think he played to Purdy's level. I think, honestly, in my opinion, I think Purdy actually played a little bit better. And that might be a hot take. And I only say that because Purdy was far more clutch down the stretch. If you look at like their numbers overall, like Jordan Love had the better game. Um, but I think, with Purdy at the end of the day, like he was so clutch at the end of the game. I
Yeah.
wrote it down somewhere. He was six on the final drive where they went and scored the touchdown. He was 6 for 7 for 46 yards. He had 2 rushes for 11 yards, and of those 6 completions, they went to 5 different receivers. That's a big deal. That's a
Mm-hmm.
huge deal. That to me, that defines clutch, right? Because you're spaced, you're seeing the entire field, you're hitting a bunch of different receivers. It's not like, what we were saying about Miami a few weeks ago when they were playing the Bills. You and I were texting. We were saying basically, like, if you just throw it to Tyreek Hill every single time, you're going to get down the field. That's not what they did in this case. Purdy was putting the ball everywhere. So to me, I think Purdy actually did outplay Love, but Love played for the most part an exceptional game and just threw that bad pick at the end. But again, it's a play you make when it's your first year starting in the biggest moment of your career. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
one of those things where you can't put the game on him, in my opinion, because it's like, yeah, he threw a bad pick and he probably could have ran for 6, 7 yards, gotten out of bounds, and like kept the game alive. But he tried to make something happen. You know, he owned up to it after the game. He said, you know, that's like the one thing you can't do as a quarterback, is kind of throw across your body in the middle of the field like that. So it stinks, but at the end of the day, the better team all year won. It would have been awesome to see them upset another team, but going forward, I'm really happy with where they're at. I know that was a lot, but
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, from a neutral fan, um, I felt like the Packers kind of controlled and mostly dominated the
for
game,
sure.
especially the first three quarters there. They it was like 7-6 halftime. They come out in the third quarter pretty high. I think they took like a 17. What was it? What was the score like after the end of the third? Wasn't it like 20 to like 15 or 20 to 14 or something like that?
They were up by a touchdown, I believe.
Yeah, 21-14. So
It
I
was
felt like it felt like the
21-14. Yeah.
momentum. I felt like the momentum and the control of the game was all Packers. Up until that fourth quarter there, Jordan Love threw that interception right after the 49ers scored a touchdown. Um, and then, uh, San Fran kind of that last possession, just Brock Purdy looked like vintage Tom Brady, in my opinion. But I also wanted to say, I think Brock Purdy just looked super flustered those first three quarters. I was like, is this really the guy they have in San Fran? But he kind of like shut me up a little bit with that fourth quarter drive. He came up clutch and drove him right down the field when he needed to. So I got to give credit where credit is due there. So I just felt I felt like Jordan Love had the better game, like overall. I just, like those two picks, like you said, the one was kind of just good coverage. And then the one in the last drive there, just a rookie mistake. It's probably not gonna. He'll learn from it. Probably won't happen again. You kind of wish you would throw it away or just take some yards on the ground there, give yourself
Sure.
another life. But yeah, I think I want to say Jordan Love played better the first three quarters, but that last drive by Purdy kind of sealed the deal, and he came up clutch when he needed to. So,
Well, that's the thing.
right there.
That's the thing for me is like if we're gonna talk about like who was the better quarterback for the first 50 minutes of this game, like game time, 50 minutes. No question, Jordan Love. No question. Right. And there was a couple dropped interceptions on the pack, that Brock Purdy really
Yeah,
threw.
yeah.
So we could be having an entirely different discussion, right? And again, I think it's such a young team. They really haven't been in a spot like this, even though we've seen the Packers for many years in the playoffs. We haven't necessarily seen this team in a position like this is the best team by far that they played all year. And the fact that they lost by a field goal is pretty remarkable.
And they could have won. They could have easily won the
They
game, I
they
think.
they could have totally
I
won.
mean,
They could have totally
one more
won.
play goes their way here or there, late in the fourth
Exactly.
quarter.
And there was
Um,
and again there was a couple miscues, but the thing I give Jordan Love a ton of credit. And I know I said that I think Purdy played a little bit better, and I think I'm just saying that because he had the clutch drive at the end.
and yeah, they won the game all in all.
When it
So
mattered, he was the best quarterback.
right.
Um, I think Matt LaFleur deserves like all the praise in the world. If if the Texans hadn't been so good this year with D'Amico Ryan, I would make an argument that Matt LaFleur is the coach of the year because of the turnaround of this team. Right? The Texans were good pretty much all year, but let me tell you something. Like people wrote Jordan Love off by week 6. Yeah, I think we were even talking on here. We were like, I don't know if he's the guy. I haven't seen turnaround in quarterback play and team play as a whole like we've seen with the Packers this year. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Packers fan. It's remarkable. Um, and he's an offensive minded coach. He was he was with Washington. He was with McVay. Like in Shanahan. It's just like it just seems like those three just overall are like best offensive minded, young offensive minded coaches, I would say.
Yeah.
Because to have that, I mean, of course, we're going to talk about Andy Reid, the Bill Belichick's, the world as being the best coaches, but like Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay, and Kyle Shanahan are young dudes, and they're like offensively minded like none other, especially to get Jordan Love, who looked like incompetent early in the season, to go to the wire with the 49ers and dismantle the Dallas Cowboys the week prior. So
Yeah. I thought LaFleur had a great game plan going into it. You kind of tell they're really prepared.
he
They
he
kept the Niners.
outcoached
Yeah.
he
He
outcoached
kept
him.
the Niners off the field. He was, establishing the run. getting good long drives on offense, getting stops on defense for the most part. But I think at the end of the day, kind of you can kind of see the youngness and the inexperience of the Packers compared to the 49ers,
Absolutely.
not just on the field, but also within the coaching staff as well. So I think that played a big factor in the Niners overcoming the Packers late in the
Yeah,
fourth quarter there.
absolutely. Yeah, I think like they basically had, and they were talking about this in the game. Like the Packers came into the 49ers game the exact same way they came into the Cowboys game. And it almost worked twice.
Right.
They received the ball first and they went right down the field and scored. Right? They only got a field goal on the first drive, but they kind of set that tone. And then
Mm,
they got a stop on defense. And then they went down the field again and went for it on 4th and 1, trying to go up 2 scores, just like did against Dallas, right? That kind of stuff I think really matters. I would say the Packers, of all the teams I probably watched in the NFL this year, they're probably one of the best in the first quarter, right? Because that is what they did all year. They were good at getting a lead in games that they won, especially early in the game. I think that
yeah.
paid huge dividends against Dallas because you put Dak in a hole. Look what happened. You put Dak in a 14-0 hole and he was a mess.
Right.
If you would have put Brock Purdy in a 10-0 hole, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's a big deal versus 3-0. It's a big
Yeah.
deal. I think I don't really look at anything more than that, and I don't blame LaFleur for making that call early in the game to try and go for it. But I think that made a difference because if you pick that up and can punch it in, I think we'd be sitting here saying we're talking about a Green Bay Packers Detroit Lions NFC Championship game.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good point there. So, unfortunately for Braden's Packers, they did go down. Went down with a great fight though. Came up just a little bit short. So is that all? I know you're a big Packers fan, so you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
get
No,
all
we
your
can keep
thoughts out
going.
on here if you want.
Yeah, no, we're good. Let's keep going.
All right. So that takes us to Texans Ravens. We'll get into next. Kind of close for the first half there. Then Ravens kind of pulled away in the third and fourth quarter. Lamar looked a little rusty in the first half. Kind of expected after having 2 weeks off. But yeah, and all in all, they won the game. Ended up winning 34-10. The defense looked great. The Texans' only touchdown I think was a punt return, right?
Yep.
So Ravens defense shut Stroud down, kind of like I predicted in the last episode. And they were moving on to the AFC Championship game. And Lamar looked like Lamar. The defense looked great. I just think they're gonna be pretty good, pretty tough to beat in Baltimore this weekend.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think probably the most impressive thing about this game from Baltimore standpoint, obviously, Houston deserves their flowers for even being in this position. They were tied for the worst record in the NFL last season. They won 3 games, and for a half, they stuck around with Baltimore. And I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
that was they were rushing them, and I don't think Lamar or the Ravens were kind of expecting that, which kept the game close, right? And when I say kept the game close, it was 10-10. And the only, like you said, the only touchdown that Houston scored was a punt return. So they weren't even doing anything on offense. So the defense was doing their part, but the offense was
Mm-hmm.
kind of struggling. And then they went in the locker room. They did what championship teams do and they adjusted and they blew them out in the second half. Like it
Right.
wasn't even close. And Lamar looked like the MVP. You know, he to me, he's probably the unanimous MVP at this point. I know it's a regular season thing, but that was an MVP performance, especially in the second half of that game. So they're going to host a AFC Championship game in Baltimore, which is really exciting for them. And Lamar kind of getting his praise now because a lot of people were like, "Oh, he can't really win in the playoffs." I think he lost to the Titans, they lost to the Bills. So he's kind of put that to bed, I would say. I know it was the Texans. They're still, they still won 10 games. And they got the Chiefs. That's big. That's box office. So
Yeah.
that's gonna be a fun game.
Just what the NFL wanted, really. Um, yeah, I don't have much to say about the Ravens Texans. Pretty much hit the nail on the head on that one. So let's go to Bucks Lions now.
Yeah.
Jared Goff gets it done again. Their second playoff win. I think they have the most playoff wins in this past week or so than they have had our whole lifetime combined. So good for them. Good for Jared Goff. Good for Dan Campbell. And Big Baker kept the Bucks in it for most of the game. I thought he played really
They had a
well.
shot at the end.
Yeah, they did have a shot at the end there. They scored like a late touchdown. They're down. the Lions scored with like 4 minutes left. We're like, oh, this one's probably over. And then Baker
They went
goes
up.
down,
They went
gets a
up two
quick score.
touchdowns.
They
Yeah.
Baker gets a quick score. The defense gets stopped, and there's like
Yeah.
not a lot of time left, but there was a chance. And then Baker threw that pick at the
There was
very
like maybe
end.
2 minutes. Yeah.
But yeah, I think Baker kind of showed who he was there. Not I'm not talking about the pick. I'm just talking about the game overall in general. I think that he could be your guy in Tampa Bay. Kind of filled in for Tom Brady. I know there's a couple quarterbacks in between, Brady and Baker, but I just think. Wait, was there? Was
No,
he?
no,
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 yeah, okay.
no. Yeah, it
I
was
took
passing the
for
torch. There
some
was a
reason
QB battle.
I
They, they,
always
they, were-
think I always think that Tom Brady
yeah.
retired 2 years ago. Well, because he
Well, he
did.
did.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah. But
But yeah, so yeah, no. So steps right in. Tom Brady's role takes him to the playoffs and gets even a win last week. So I think you have your answer in quarterback for the Tampa Bay. It's going to be building around him, getting some receivers, and going from there. But then let's go to the Lions side of things. Dan Campbell, he looked the way he was coaching just looked really good in the second half. Jared Goff was making some great plays, great throws, and they were kind of rolling off that momentum of getting the first win in 32 years and kept it rolling to the divisional. So they were going on to the NFC Championship facing the 49ers. So, Bray, give me your reaction to the Niner or to the Bucks and Lions game.
yeah, so I'll start with the Bucks like you did. Again, very, very impressive stuff from Baker. He's built for those kind of games, in my opinion. He's a Heisman winner, right? Um, he Cleveland had not won anything for many, many years, and he won them their first playoff game and played in the divisional against Kansas City and was taking it to him too. Like he played him tough, just like he played the Lions. So I agree with you. I think that you give Baker a contract in the offseason. I don't know necessarily what that contract looks like because, again, like there's Mike Evans at play and he's a free agent. And if you lose him, it's tough. You know what I mean? Like I think if you lose Mike Evans, I don't think they win that division next year unless they get another major pickup, which is possible. It's tough, right? Because I don't know if Baker's the guy if Mike Evans is there, right? It's tough. I still give him the contract because I don't really know what else is available out there. You probably still want to go draft a quarterback if you can. I'm a fan of just drafting a quarterback regardless, especially if you're in a position like the Bucks where you have a guy, but like you don't know if that guy can win you a Super Bowl.
That's it. That's easy for you to say as a Packers fan with the whole Jordan Love thing a couple of years ago, though.
Well, but yeah, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, like someone like you know the Bengals, it doesn't really make sense for them to draft a quarterback in like the first 3 rounds because why would they? Right. But someone like Tampa Bay, despite thinking they have their guy in Baker, you have to question can Baker win us a Super Bowl? Right. So that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm biased because I'm a Packers fan and I've seen a lot of quarterback success. But
That's what it is.
regardless, all the props to Tampa. Um, they kind of won the worst division in football, and they still ended up winning a playoff game and going to the wire pretty much with the Lions. So all the props to them. And then on the Detroit side of things, very, very impressive stuff once again. Jared Goff looks beyond confident in the pocket. So there's not even much to say there. Like they look really good. Them and the 49ers are the two best teams in the NFC this year. They've probably been all year. So by default, they are in the NFC Championship game.
All right, let's go to the Chiefs Bills then.
Yeah.
This was obviously the game of the week, kind of. I picked the Bills to win the Super Bowl a couple weeks ago. I was rolling with them. I was hoping they'd finally get Mahomes and the Chiefs, especially at home in Buffalo. So I was really rooting for the Bills to win, mostly because one, I don't want to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again. And also I was hoping they'd be able to play the Ravens and beat the Ravens as well to go to the Super Bowl, but obviously came up a little bit short. So a lot of questions, I think, for Buffalo from here on out. How are you going to restructure this roster? Is Diggs the answer? I know Josh Allen has a contract to like 2026. So I think is it 2026? Maybe 2020,
Something like that. Yeah, he's got a couple more
2026,
years.
27, 28, some around there. But the Chiefs, have, as they always done, just ended up winning the game. It was a great game overall, but yeah, the Bills came up a little short. I was kind of sad to see Josh Allen go down like that
It
once
was tough.
again.
It was tough.
But it's the way it is. I think the Chiefs just you could officially say the Chiefs own the Bills at this point. It's becoming not even a rivalry anymore. The Chiefs win every time. Um, so yeah, give me your initial reaction to the Chiefs and Bills to the game there.
Yeah, and I'll be quick here. Bills fans out there, I feel horrible for you because it's like that was like tough. Like the definition of tough, like wide right, you gotta be kidding, right? Like that. Um, and they played good enough to win, right? Josh Allen had a good game, right?
I thought Josh Allen played
They were
great.
yeah, they just ran into Kansas City, and I think it sucks for the Bills, and there obviously are question marks. I don't think their window's necessarily closed because you have a guy like Josh Allen. Players will want to play with someone like Josh Allen. I think this is more about the Chiefs. This is why after the wild card round, like I picked the Chiefs in the wild card round against Miami. And once I saw that game, I was like, have to pick them because the way they played in that first game against Miami, they looked competent again. The receivers could catch balls, right? The defense was firing. I was like, dude, how can I not pick them? Right?
Yeah,
Obviously, like the Bills probably on paper are the better team, but
can't
I
count out.
think
You
it
just
go
can't ever
I
count out the Chiefs. It's
exactly. I think it goes to show you the championship culture in
yeah,
Kansas City. I don't want to say they're the next New England, but like yesterday is a huge deal for that because
yeah,
all of a sudden, when the stakes are the highest, Travis Kelsey's wide open. Scanling's catching balls. The defense is firing on all. You know what I mean? For much of the season, Patrick Mahomes had no confidence in his offensive line. None. Now look at it. It
yeah,
looks like it's the best in the NFL, or one of the best, I should say. So there's not even really much to say. I feel for you, Bills fans, but I think this is more about the Chiefs, and I think the Chiefs and Ravens is going to be spectacle. It's going to be really fun.
yeah.
It's going to be a really fun game. So
Yeah, I was obviously rooting for the Bills, but I think, like you said,
I
hit the
was
nail on the
too.
head. I think it just shows the Chiefs' dominance and, like you said, championship culture. They stepped up. Kind of had a slow start to the season. Everyone's saying it's not the same Chiefs team. The dynasty is over. I know I was jokingly saying that, but yeah, they went right into Buffalo. Mahomes' first away playoff game in 6 years of going to the playoffs now. So it's almost unbelievable at this rate the way he shows up in big time games. And I know you said you didn't want to make it about the Bills, you want to make it more about the Chiefs, but from the Bills side of things, like um, I thought the receivers had a couple drops on big plays. I think the defense was letting up way too many big plays
Yep.
to Mahomes. I feel like, and even though the Bills were winning most of the game, I know there's a lot of lead changes, but I still felt like they were playing from behind. Um,
100%.
and you just kind
100%.
of feel like that, like whenever the Bills would score, the Chiefs would come right back down and
Yep.
get another touchdown or go right in. Kelsey looked good, 2 touchdowns, he's back. Um, so just gonna be tough. It's gonna be a fun game in AFC next week, and I don't know who I'm gonna be rooting for, but it'll be a good game all in all. And you could blame the kicker, Bass of the Bills, but I think even if he makes a field goal, I think the Chiefs go right down and score anyway with 2 timeouts in a minute 30. I just
And you know
think
what?
you got to score a
I'll make
touchdown there.
I'll drop the mic on this one. If Hardman doesn't fumble the ball in the end zone, this game's over 15
Yeah,
minutes earlier.
right.
This
No, good point.
this we're not even talking about a missed
Yeah,
kick or anything because the game would be over. The Chiefs would have won in convincing fashion.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know where to put the blame on the Bills loss. I know the defense, like I said, let up a few big plays.
I think
Receivers were
that
dropping balls.
just real quick,
Allen didn't have any turnovers. He had the fumble, but they recovered it anyway, and then they converted on the fourth down after that.
uh,
I know a lot of people were saying that Josh Allen was trying to make the big play at the end there, um,
you can't really
but
blame them there though.
no,
Um, I, I'll tell you just real quick. I think the reason why, if you want to put blame on anything, I think they went back to what they were doing when they were losing to the Broncos, right? They were to Josh Allen. They were asked Josh Allen to go out there and do everything, right? Look what they did against Dallas like a month, 6 weeks ago. They ran the ball all over.
Yeah.
Why didn't they
They
ran the
they
ball
went away
like
from the
how
run
many?
game. I don't know why.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. That's the whole point here. I think that's what contributed to a lot of this is they asked Josh Allen to go be Superman, right?
Yeah.
And
That's
he
a good
has
point.
the talents to do it. But when you ask one player to put the entire team on their back, it's like there's only so much he can
Against
do.
against
Really,
an
it
Andy
didn't
Reid defense and Mahomes on the other
exactly,
side, it's not gonna work
exactly.
out.
You didn't give the ball to James Cook really at all, and
Yeah.
I mean, so it stinks. But we can shift into our
Yeah, let's shift
championship.
the preview here.
Yeah.
So yeah, give me your Ravens, Chiefs, and Baltimore. Braden, start with that.
Yeah, so I think I'll be real quick. I'm sticking with the Ravens. It's really hard for me to bet against the Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
Because I've been riding the Chiefs pretty much all season. I said don't count this team out, and I really do think that they can win this game. I really
No,
do.
they can. They have
Um,
Mahomes. It's pretty
100 like
obvious.
110%, like they can totally win this game. The thing is like the Ravens just look so good.
Yeah.
And I think this is a low scoring game. I think we're talking like a 20-17, 23-20 game. But I think the Ravens will edge it out in Baltimore.
Yeah,
And both
I think it's
players
gonna
have
be all
fantastic
Ravens.
games too.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be all Ravens here. I know you said it's gonna be pretty close. I could see it going one way. In Baltimore's favor. I just think their defense is a lot better. You got Lamar Jackson playing with confidence now, and it's gonna be close, but I think the Ravens end up winning. Like the line right now is 3.5, I think. Um,
I
yeah,
think
three
Chiefs
and a
cover.
half. Um,
Chiefs cover.
so you think I don't think they cover. I think the Baltimore wins by a touchdown.
That's fair. That's fair.
And then Lions, Niners. I'm gonna roll with the Lions because I had originally picked them to upset before the
Yeah.
playoffs started. So I'm gonna keep rolling with them. They look good. I know Niners are obviously probably the better team, more experience. George Kittle, CMC, all that stuff. But I'm gonna roll with the upset and go with the Lions, like I said previously, and stick with that.
Yeah, and I low key went back and forth on this because after the Lions look so good and obviously there were question marks with the 49ers, but I'm gonna roll with the 49ers here. Um to me this is really a coin flip. Because Purdy didn't look fantastic. He didn't
Mm-hmm.
look like himself, I guess you could say. He kind of got small hands. You saw him like trying to dry his hand mid play. So there's obviously some question marks there, but I think if the conditions are right for what he's used to in Santa Clara, California, I think they're going to win this game. Um, I don't know what the spread
The
is.
line's 7 right now. 7.
See, I again, I think that this is at most a touchdown victory for the 49ers.
Yeah.
But again, I could see the Lions totally
Yeah.
winning this game. And the question mark, just real quick, the question mark for the 49ers is Deebo Samuel. I think if he's not healthy, I think I would end up giving the edge to
Yeah.
Detroit just because of health.
Yeah. After watching last week, I don't have as much confidence in the Niners. I think the Lions have a great chance to pull off the upset.
Sure.
But like I said, coin flip could go either way. So all right.
Awesome.
Thanks everyone for listening. In the yard, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.